thought it might be interesting to do a after walk kit check, what I ended up using and what I didn't. So I did have a gilet and I sent that home, and I just got the one fleece. It's a technical fleece, completely and utter windproof. It's got a hood, which actually I did use a few times, so that was good. Shorts, so I did take some trousers with me, but I ended up sending the trousers home. A technical shirt, 2 pairs of boxer shorts, 1 pair of socks. Probably should have taken 2 with me, but actually they've lasted, they've been fine. I ended up getting through 3 pairs of shoes. So I started off with my North Face Hedgehogs, 10.5s, and then ended up changing it to these Oasis gel Trabants, 12s, and they're a size bigger, so went from 10.5 to 11.5s, and they've been pretty good. But I had to go and tape my heel back here and my toe, because I was getting blisters and bits and pieces. So I used those. That was a big improvement on. I bought 300k in my North Face before they started giving me issues. Really wanted to get some Hoka Speed Goats, give me those, and they're even bigger again, so they're size 12s. And they've got a lot more arch support. They work for me, so lots of hassles. And what you'll see quite a lot of people doing is they will have 1 pair of walking, they're typically trainers, not many people wearing boots, walking specialists, walking trainers, and then another one tied to the back of the pack. And so when I moved from my North Face Hedgehog to these, I carried my Hedgehogs for a week, because I wasn't quite sure whether these were working with me. And then I wore these for a couple of days, got a few blisters, so I went back to my Hedgehogs. My Hedgehogs were worse, and so I went back to these, and so then I sent my Hedgehogs home because that's still okay. And then I did the same thing when I got these. I kept these for a week, and these worked, but I needed to tape up bits of my feet, and the best tape, we'll come to it in a minute, but is this stuff. So they're shoes. That's that piece. Then I had a box of some first aid stuff, which had a load of plasters. Never used them. I usually suffer from athlete's foot, and so only towards the end. Actually, I have got it here. Yeah, I sprayed my shoes every night with these, and that's still it's getting a bit empty now. But it's almost there's still a bit, and that works really well. So use those. Nail scissors, absolutely must. Didn't need that. People say burst your blisters. That definitely works. Got some blisters. They're really painful, but actually, rather than putting a pin through it and a bit of cotton, which is recommended, what I actually did is my nail scissors are really sharp. So I just used my nail scissors to pop my blisters. And that worked a treat. You can see I never used my only ibuprofen and paracetamol, didn't use those at all. And Canstin cream, didn't use that either. So that was in there. So actually, needn't have had a separate box. So actually I could have done away with the box. So all that stuff's kind of extra. Dry bag for my toiletries. Used some Tiger Balm a little bit at the beginning, but then only maybe the first week. I transferred it from a bottle into a bag. Didn't need that. So the blisters I got on my feet, just here, were caused by compression. So actually, by me using some foot cream every night to soften the bottom of my feet, that solved that one. Had to burst those blisters, but they're okay. Did have a small toothpaste thing. That's a waste of time. Just take a big one. And that shampoo was great. And what we found is some alberges, some of the Airbnbs and stuff like that we stayed in had their own shampoo, and so I just kept topping it up. Normally had a beard, and I had a shaver with me. That's just heavy. Just take a razor, shave in the shower. You don't need to take any shower gel. So that was the toiletries. And I kept that in a separate dry bag, and I could have put that tiny little bit of that piece in there. We had some pretty major first aid stuff. Keri's feet were kind of horrendous. So this is the sports tape. It's absolutely brilliant because it really easy to peel off at the end of the day without taking the skin off with you. But actually when you stick it on, it doesn't come loose during the day. So that was definitely my preferred, much better than using this, you know, the brown stuff that you go and use. But we've got some of that one and this stuff as well. It does work, but not as good as this. Super expensive. And then when we burst our blisters, this is a bit of iodine. I think it's 5%, 10% iodine to go and sterilise those bits when we burst the bubbles. Some ibuprofen and Ranian bits and pieces we didn't use. We initially started off with using Vaseline, but you can get this these sticks which are PTFE stuff, and so Compi do one, and that's absolutely brilliant because it dries dry, and so your foot's not getting your socks all horrible with using Vaseline. So that is a big step forward. Quite expensive. And then Keri had bad, so she had a whole series of different tapes that she blistered up and compied, and you can get compied which has got some cushioning in there as well. And it's just so easy to get. Every town has got a really good pharmacist. So that's that piece sorted there. Electrics made a bit of a mistake. We did take a single charger, and the charger packed up, and so one day towards the end, I mean, we were, gosh, I should imagine we were about 48 days in, and so we suddenly woke up one morning and both the phones were dead. And so actually much better to take two little chargers, and actually really the C's to C's are better because that charges at 20 amps and this only charges, the old USB, these things only charge at 5 amps. And then you'll find some Alberges have actually got a socket for you to go and put the old USB in there, so it is useful to have a USB to a C. All the Alberges had a plug for each individual bed, so using the phone was pretty key. We both had platypuses, both ended up chucking those out, and just all you need is a water bottle, which you can pick up anywhere. You know, so you pick them up and then like 90 cents in a bar, full of water obviously. And if you've got a section, you can look the day before to see how many cafes there are. If it's a really hot day and there's a big gap, you might carry 2 of those. And then whenever I stopped in the mornings and at the cafe stops, and we probably have 2 or 3 cafe stops a day, I'd always drink 1 bottle at the cafe stop, sometimes 2 if it's a hot day. So, you know, I'd literally be drinking 2 or 3 litres of water at the cafe stops. It's heavy, hey, it's 500 grams, so that's great. Shells, which are made up in England. Plastic bag, incredibly useful to go and take when you go swimming and when you go into the supermarket and go and buy bits and pieces. So just a cheap nappy bag that goes across here. My rucksack, this was an utter waste of time. A little padlock, never used it once, doesn't really wear anything, so I left it on there. But make sure you choose a lightweight bag. So this one's done me great, an Osprey Exos 58. She weighs about 1 kilo, but you can get lighter ones. The little side zips are really useful. Let me just go. Suddenly realise I missed my my earbuds. These things, they're just cheap ones. Twin ones, I think now. So I mean, like, oh gosh, come on. So they got a battery, you know, within themselves, and then these little things, and they're actually magic. So you know, sometimes on the trail listen to audiobooks, sometimes listen to music. When you're Alberge, you know, watch a movie or something at night. Absolutely brilliant, and I used to keep them in one of the side pockets. So that was cool. Walking sticks, I'd say absolutely essential. And I would say you want 2, and you're going to get through, we got through maybe 5 sets of rubbers. But yeah, get some decent walking sticks. Let's go over here. This was a food bag, and so again, we would look each day to see how many cafe stops. So some worst days you might get 12 to 15k between cafe stops. So then we'd carry quite a bit of food in there. Maybe so typically a couple of bananas and a packet of biscuits at minimum. Sometimes 2 bananas, 2 nectarines, 2 oranges, a packet of biscuits. Yeah, it's probably about the maximum I carried in there. But so sometimes it started to creep up towards 2 kilos for food. I'm not a great fan of them, but actually ended up, somebody left one on the trail, one of these plastic covers to go over your rucksack. We only had 3 days of decent rain, and I did use them. So that was kind of new for me. So the sleeping bag is super light. I think she weighs 450 grams, but it was too hot to use it. And so typically I'd sleep on top of it. So I think a sleeping bag liner is all you need. We didn't stay in any of the municipal albergues, but all the albergues we stayed in had a blanket with each bunk bed. And so if you were cold and you had a sleeping bag liner, which is lighter than 450 grams, get a silk one, then you could have put a blanket over the top of you. Flip-flops, so they're an absolute must, but I went a bit silly. These are brilliant ones. They've got Vibram soles on them, and really I should have taken some really cheap, lightweight ones. They're super comfortable, but actually you're not going to walk very far with them. This goes in this dry bag. So this is a dry bag of all the stuff that I would only touch when I got to the albergue. So I'm wearing my evening kit, another pair of box shorts, just some beach trousers and a t-shirt. That's what I'd sleep in. So that would go in here because I know I wouldn't need to touch it until I got to the albergue. We ended up buying a long-sleeved sun shirt, and that was a godsend doing the Meseta. You know, even though you put loads of sun cream on all the time, and it's got a high collar on it, and on those really hot days I'd have that one. Shorts were still fine. I then I thought I had a sun snood, but I didn't, so I bought myself, they're easy to buy I don't buy one in the UK, buy one when you get over here, but a sun snood. And then when you got the really hot days, you go and chuck that in a water fountain. Water fountains tend to be pretty regular, and then so you can put that on wet around your neck to keep the sun off your neck. And then the sun hat, absolute must. This is a big heavy beastie one, probably again, there's a lot of family history with that one, so that's why I took that one, but I would have taken a lighter weight one. I love swimming, so I took some shorts, just these are normal PE shorts to use as swimming, and then you definitely need a towel. The fancier places, if you get a private room, will come with a towel, but you know, when you stay at the albergues, it won't. So this is just a Decathlon, their medium one. So that's a towel. I did a journal every night, so I took a journal. So you're going to need a pen, and then to begin with, I didn't stamp it, but then I got used to actually going in. It's really kind of fun to go and every time you get your Camino passport done, go and stamp your notebook as well. And I would really encourage you to do that. I think it's a great idea. And then I bought these on the Camino, and they're both brilliant. So you're in a Camino, produced by Karen Kurzer, and then after the Camino. They're really quite short guides, but they help you explore why you're walking a Camino and what you're getting out of it. So, and that went in a separate dry bag, so I could pull that one out when I was going. That was full, and there's still a little bit left in it, and we used it a lot. So that was great, and it's one of these ones you twist and it locks the top. So it doesn't go and spill everywhere. Already talked about that one. I bought that one in St. John de Pierreport to go and massage my foot. So you go and put it down in here. And I used it a bit, but actually the only reason I've kept it is because I bought it in St. John. I didn't need it. This was one in the top of my bag, so I did use my warm hat a bit. I bought some little tiny micro gaiters. The theory was if we had really wet days, I put those over the top of my shoes so it stopped the water. I've got some rain trousers, good old English rain trousers. They're good quality Burgess ones, a really good quality raincoat. But if you get a really wet day, the water runs down your raincoat, runs down your rain trousers, and then goes in your shoes. And so to these, I only used them twice. I don't know, they don't really weigh anything. Head torch, never used it at all. And we walked quite a few days where we got up before dawn and watched dawn break. And so I wouldn't have bothered to take a head torch. If you need a torch, you've got one on your phone, just for getting yourself sorted in the mornings. Lip balmies a little bit, probably wouldn't bother. Sunglasses, absolute must. Reading glasses, I need. Some toilet paper, yes, I would strongly encourage you to do that, although you'll find usually with cafes and bits and pieces you're not going to get caught short, but one of those. Wrap up a little bit of gaffer tape. Gaffer tape's magic, but actually, having said that, that's what my old school way of doing it. My new school way of doing it is actually using this stuff. The idea is, with the gaffer tape, is you stick it to your foot and the friction occurs on the tape. It does work, but it sticks too well, and so if you've got a bit of a blister, it's likely to break the skin afterwards. This won't. So this is the physio tape. So it's expensive, but I would use a physio tape and not this. And you can get it everywhere, but it's best part of 20 quid a roll. You need to have a money belt. So for me, I just use this one and it clipped on there, and I've got my passports in there and my money and bits and pieces. Wore it all the time. That worked really well. Waterproofs. So I only had 3 wet days. So I don't know. I've ended up getting quite a heavy weight, really good quality, with a wonderful pit zips and bits and pieces. Part of me says get a lighter weight one, but then the other says, well, actually, I've now got a really good raincoat that I'm going to use when I'm at home. And I had a separate dry bag for that. The idea being that when that gets wet, I can chuck it in there, it doesn't get everything else wet. So I think that covers all the stuff I had. Yeah, so there we go. There's a make of rucksack, which is half, that's a kilo. Lots of rucksacks are 2.5 kilos. There is another make of American one, I think it's American, and they're 500 grams. But the more you can get your weight down, the better. So that's what I end up taking. I don't know if you see, I've got Montane, so I got my waterproofs on. With trousers with a zip that comes all the way up to your thigh, so easy to get on and off. Trousers don't weigh much, so actually I was quite happy taking those. This one's a bit heavier weight. Keri's actually got, I'm just looking at hers. Mine's it's a proper full-on mountain one. Keri's a Arab. She said it's not their lightest one, but the next one up, and it must be, oh, there we go, Pro Flex. Probably half the weight of mine. It's a bit tetchy. I've got cracking pit zips in them. So we were lucky. We had 3 days of rain. There were some proper decent thunderstorms that went through. I mean, real full-on stuff that I've never seen in England before, but they tended to be late evenings. No, early to late evenings. So we were always in by 12 o'clock, so actually we missed those. But then there were people in front of us, because you see in the Facebook profiles and stuff, and some of them went through some pretty heavy hail showers. Not light stuff, pretty heavy stuff. And so it's like a lot of people wear ponchos, but they flap around like a flag. And so if you're unlucky and the weather's horrendous, you're doing several serious mountain, 1,500 meters mountain crossings. I mean, you're going to struggle. That's higher than anything we've got in England. That's proper mountains. Fireworks. Oh, look at those. So that's rucksacks. Hyperlite Contour is the one that weighs 500 grams. So literally half what mine is. But then mine is less than half of what a standard rucksack is. And it was awesome. I never had a sweaty back. And we walked in some really hot weather. So it's a nice rucksack. And I didn't feel, once you put it up and put it on your shoulders and carrying the weight on your hips, it was sorted. We talked about the fact this is the lightest sleeping bag, SeatoSummit. She's 390 grams, but I could have got a silk sleeping bag liner, which is 90 grams, so a quarter of this weight, and that would have been fine for us. And like I say, as long as you don't stay in the municipal albergues, I'm guessing the municipal albergues aren't going to give you a blanket, but ours did. Oh, washing. So only 2 sets of clothes, walking clothes and the evening stuff. I wouldn't be wearing the waterproof trousers now. We washed them every night, and until we got to Galicia, they would dry in a couple of hours. Galicia, all of a sudden you get a Devon climate, and so it's really humid, and so then it became a bit of a problem, and we had to use tumble dryers a fair amount to dry stuff off, or hair dryers in rooms and bits and pieces to dry socks and underwear tend to be okay, but yeah, so we just one set that we're wearing and one set that we put on an evening, and then we'd wash it, and then we'd wash ours in the shower, and most people wash it in the sink, but actually we tried both, and actually, you know, as long as you wash yourself off first and then wash the stuff in the shower and stomp on it with your feet and bits and pieces, it actually washes better in the shower, or as well in the shower as it does doing it in a sink. And for 80% of the Camino, it's going to dry easily overnight, and then those that don't, there are tumble dryers. So you typically about €4 in a alberge for them to go and put a load in the washing machine or tumble dryer. So €4 for washing machine, €4 for tumble dryer. Don't need a washing machine. A tumble dryer is pretty good, and then most alberges are pretty good. They will let you combine, so you can end up having 4 or 5 of you go and chuck some clothes in there. So like €1 each, an hour, it's all nice and dry and ready for you the next day. There we go. I can't think that I missed anything else out with my kit. So a fair old change from what we started with, and the fair old changes that I would make. Shoes are a real issue. Your hassle is going to be that you're just not going to go out and do enough walking before the Camino to know what works. You know, you go and walk 30k back in the UK. We struggled because it was wet. I tell you the other bit is mine are all Gore-Tex. The recommendation is to have non-Gore-Tex ones because they're more breathable, and I think I'd go with that. You know, the small amount of rain you have, you're going to get wet feet for those days, but most of the time it's going to be really dry. I mean, we did May and June, and apparently May is now the busiest month because it's not too hot, but you can, you know, be sort of fairly reliant on some good weather. So May and September, I think, are the busy months on the Camino. So actually having some non-Gore-Tex shoes which are more breathable, which will be more comfortable for your feet. The socks I use with these Bridgedale, they're sort of a bit more than ankle length. They're absolutely brilliant. Can't recommend those high enough. So they're a merino, polyester, all sorts of other bits and pieces in there. Never got stinky, always wicked really well. The bit I always did, and lots of other people do, is when you stop in a cafe, is you take your shoes off, you take your socks off, and then that allows your feet to breathe, your socks to breathe, and your shoes to breathe. And if you have 2 or 3 cafes stops a day, that makes a big difference to you know, having your feet in a good, and then, you know, tape up to prevent you getting the blisters rather than after you get the blisters. You're going to get some. It's just the way it works. Okay, so I thought I'd quickly show you how I pack my bag. So that's all my sleeping bag, and I've actually got my dry clothes on, but normally that would be my... so I thought I'd quickly show you how I pack my bag. So that's got my sleeping bag and all the dry clothes for tonight. Ignore the fact I've got some on at the moment. So I chuck that in the bottom. I then put my flip-flops in. I would suggest you get some lighter ones that goes in there. I got it wrong with this one, is I've got my waterproofs in there and my fleece. If it was a wet day, then it allows me to put my fleece back in there if it gets too hot, and I'd put my waterproofs loose in my bag, so it allows me to keep my fleece dry. That's my electrics for charging the phone. That's my first aid kit. That's my wash bag. It's my journal, bits and pieces, all my little dry bags. That goes in where they normally have the bladder, goes across there. In the top of my piece, I've got my hat and my snood and bits and pieces in there. I put the sun cream and my foot spray in those. And then my sunglasses I put in the top. On my particular one, I've got an inside pocket, so I put my toilet roll and my reading glasses in there. And then my food bag, or whatever food I think I need for the day, goes on the top. So that's my bag. Oh, and then my hat right at the very top. So pack that one up through there, down there, flip those up. And then on my particular bag, I can reach them as I'm going along. It's got some elasticated things for the hole in here, which actually work really well. So I've put my water bottle in there, and I've got 2 of those, and I just refill them over and over again. Really nice little side zippy pocket. So one of them I use for my ear pads, and then the other one, I was constantly, if we're walking on gravel, then I take the ends off my sticks, and that will go in the other side. And then if we start going on tarmac, I go and swap it around again. And then in the very back on my particular one, I've got a little piece in there. So that's my rain cover that I picked up on the Camino. And then with all my valuables, if I'm wearing my rucksack, that goes in the top pocket. As soon as I take my rucksack off, I take that and wear it on my hip belt. So that's just with me all the time. So it's got my passports, my money and my credit cards. And everybody's on about micro weight, and so I even went as far as to go and send my wallet home, and I've just got my credit cards with a hair bungee around them, which is as light as possible. Oh, and a plastic bag for me to go with that would normally be inside on there. There we go, all done, thank you.